Welcome back. Thank you for staying with Bottom Line Africa. Let's continue with the broadcast. Right now, we want to have a discussion centered on teenage pregnancies, which still seem to be a scourge right here in Kenya, as are according to a recent report by the United Nations Population Fund. Over 350,000 adolescent girls between the age of 10 and 19 years of age became pregnant between July 2016 and June 2017. These numbers are worrying, the least to say. Now, AMREF Health Africa, in collaboration with other stakeholders, are launching an online platform dubbed Sauti Sasa on the 26th of September, which coincidentally also happens to be the World Contraception Day. Now, in regards to this particular conversation and in anticipation of Sauti Sasa, which will be launched on the 26th, we want to have a brief conversation with Josephine Odhiambo, who's a youth advocate. Thank you so much for making time and welcome to Bottom Line Africa.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, even before we start talking about what exactly Sauti Sasa aims to do, I mean, while we talk about this scourge of teenage pregnancies, perhaps before we look at the solutions, let's look at some of the factors that cause such numbers, which are alarming right here in Kenya. And I know it might be different according to the geographic position, but let's take a look at some of the contributing factors to teenage pregnancy.
Just like you said, it's different in different counties. For Nairobi, mostly nowadays, if you're having a child as a teenager, it's deemed cool. So peer pressure. So it's like, for example, if you're in my estate and then everybody else has a child and then I don't have a child, I'll feel stigmatized. So what do? I go have a child just to fit in. Yes. So that's one of the causes. The other causes is young people don't have access to the correct information when it comes to their sexual reproductive health and rights. So that's another contributing factor. The other thing is when I go to a facility, me as Josephine, I know I'm sexually active. I don't want to get pregnant. But then when I go to a facility asking for a contraceptive, they usually don't give me the contraceptives. They're like, you're too young, you're supposed to be in school, you're supposed to be studying. So at the end of the day, I'll go back home with all the contraceptive, continue having sex, then get pregnant. Then after that, they'll say it's my fault. While in the first place, I actually went to the facility to ask for medication. Right. So that's are the contributing factors in Nairobi. But then for the other counties, there is FGM, there's early marriages, there's sex for pads. So it's a whole different dynamic. Yeah, you can't actually pinpoint to one particular thing.
Exactly, and so many contributing factors, hence, you know, a multi-sectoral approach in terms of trying to sort this scourge that is teenage pregnancies. Now, let's talk about what exactly AMREF Health Africa, in collaboration with other partners, are aiming to do, specifically with this Sauti Sasa platform. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, first of all, Sauti Sasa is a youth-led movement. That's like the first thing people need to know. It's being led by the youth totally, because we, the youth, are the ones who are being affected. That's one. Two, it aims to bring up different sectors, because you can't talk about teenage pregnancy and you don't involve the health sector, the education sector, and the other sector, and the political sector as well, because it's a social issue. So everybody has to be involved. So we want everybody to come together and talk about this issue. Instead of us burying our heads in the sand like we usually do here in Kenya, people need to talk about it. Parents need to talk about it. Religious leaders need to talk about it. We, the young people, need to talk about it, first of all. So that the aim of the project is to just get people to be aware of that teenage pregnancy is an issue that needs to be spoken about.
All right.
Yes.
So it's basically, you know, bringing people together to sensitize and spread the word about the scourge that is teenage pregnancies. But as we move on, I think we have to appreciate that we are an evolving generation. Yes. Social media and, you know, TV as well might have proper influence on what people consume and what people believe in terms of their sexual health, in terms of their reproductive health as well. Now, in bringing in the online platform, I'm curious, is the initiative also inculcating an online platform to help spread the message, or how exactly are you doing it? County to county, how is it working?
No, so for the online platform, since there are different organizations, it's like a sector thing. Different sectors have come together to sort of like find a solution to the issue. So you find there's maybe an organization that is really good in media, so they'll provide the information in media. Right. And then the others will be offering support in terms of if we're having a discussion on teenage pregnancy, we'll make young people aware to know that by this day we are talking about this and this and this. So if you have a question, just ask. So that's on the online part.
All right.
Then on the offline part, we'll be going to Kakamega County. the Honorable Paranya had allowed us to go to his county to sort of like have a dialogue with community. Because when you talk about teenage pregnancy, it's a community thing. You can't talk about it without involving the community. So we'll be having community dialogues and just find out, because the contributing factors in Nairobi and Kakamega are totally different. So we'll speak to the young people so they can tell us, by the way, this is what is affecting us. This is what is making us get pregnant. And this is how you can solve them as young people. So after that, after we collected that, we'll present it to the government to tell them, this is what your young people are saying. This is what they want, and this is how you can help them. So Kakamega and Bungoma are the first counties we are going to, but then we'll be going to other counties as well. So if there's a governor watching, a first lady watching, we are open to come into your counties and talk about teenage pregnancy and sort of find a solution to it.
All right. Now, even
Yes.
as we drive towards a solution, I'm sure as we sit right now, there must be progress that has been made in, solving the issue of teenage pregnancies. What are the steps taken by not just, AMREF and other stakeholders, but the government as well, as we appreciate the progress that has been made so far?
Yeah, so I think the first progress is when 2016, 2017, when the story came out of the high number of teenage pregnancies, which was 387,388 young people got pregnant during that time.
All right.
And when it was aired in the media, the CS, at that time, formed a multi-sectoral committee to sort of like find a solution to this issue. My problem is we have no idea if they've ever met.
All right.
If they've ever met to sort of like solve this issue. So to the team, please, we as young people out here, we want to know if you've met, what solutions have you come up with? Are these solutions really going to help us as young people, or when you are coming up with the solutions, did you involve us young people? Because we are sort of like in the dark. We don't know if you've met, if you've actually discussed it. So to that committee, please kindly inform us on the progress you've made in terms of coming up with teenage pregnancy. The other thing is to our Honorable President. Ever since this issue of teenage pregnancy was highlighted, he has never spoken about it. We've not heard him speak about it. So our request is during the ICPD 25, which will be happening in November, the same way he committed in Geneva to end teenage pregnancy. We want him to commit to end teenage pregnancy. He has 3 years left. During the 3 years he has left, we want him to commit to help in reducing teenage pregnancy by either sourcing for funds or just speaking about it to see that he actually is speaking for us, because he's the UN Global Ambassador for young people. So we expect him to speak for us as young people.
Very true. And it should mirror, not just in Geneva, Switzerland, but in Nairobi, Kenya as well, and 47 counties across. Now, one thing that stood out earlier on when you mentioned, driving youthful innovations to tackle the problem facing the youth and teenagers as well. That's a very good point. But in terms of the alienation that comes in society when one is so vibrant about speaking against teenage pregnancies and spreading information about the vice that is teenage pregnancy, how exactly do we curb this? Because if we go to communities, maybe one person advocating against it might be looked down upon, alienated and all that. So bringing together youth who might not have a very big voice. I know there's power in numbers, definitely, but that one person spreading word in a community that this and this is wrong, let's steer off against it. What exactly are we doing to ensure, that alienation does not happen, that seclusion, this person speaks against it, but, action as well? Yeah,
so I think mostly what happens is when you go to a community where a lot of young people are pregnant and you find one is not, actually the one who is not pregnant, the one that they actually look at her like she has a problem, she's barren or something. That's usually what happens. So for them, what happens is if you want to speak against it, don't go alone as a young person. Because if you go alone, trust me, if you go alone, nobody will listen to you. So if you can go 3 or 4 people who believe in the same cause, I think it would make all the much difference. And then when you're approaching a community, I can't go to Kibra and just start talking about it without involving the people in Kibra. That makes sense.
Yes.
So I'll first go to maybe the chief or the youth groups that are there, because I know every community has a youth group. So if you can actually approach the youth groups and actually use the youth groups to actually enter to that community, I think that would be the most appropriate action.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to 26th of September, when we anticipate the launching of Sauti Sasa, in terms of preparations and what to expect as Kenyans, how can we participate as a youth, as teenagers as well, who want to speak about this and speak against the vice that is teenage pregnancies? How can we involve ourselves?
So the launch will be online. So we'll be having a Twitter discussion, so they can engage on Twitter. And then we will be also having a Facebook kind of event where we'll be just be young people talking about teenage pregnancy. Because if you put a whole paragraph of statistics, nobody will read them. Exactly.
As well, yeah.
So it will be just a normal discussion of us young people seated talking in a language that young people understand, sharing if that's what they're comfortable in Swahili, in English. So it's be a whole different dynamic of young people just speaking about it. So if they want to know more about the Sauti Sasa campaign, they can actually go to Facebook to Youth in Action. They can always find more solutions, more information on the campaign there.
On the campaign there.
Yes.
We're definitely looking forward to that,
Yes.
as even, on online platforms and especially going round in communities and counties as well. So much thankful for your contribution to the
Thank
show.
you for having
Josephine Odhiambo right there, youth advocate, very vehemently against teenage pregnancies right there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Thank
making
you so
time.
much for having
and
me.
all the success on the 26th of September going forward.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll do our part as the media